The quickest and easiest breakdown of law of attraction would be it'll typically start with an experience, which will then have an idea of an intention that we want to set. So, say we have an experience that we don't want to experience again, that will give us the opportunity to create a brand new intention for basically the opposite of that. But in between that manifesting into the physical reality to become an actual experience for us, we basically have to remove anything that is blocking that from aligning. So any thoughts, feelings, anything that we physically do that is in between where we are or where we've been to achieving the full physical manifestation of that, which really depends on where we're at in terms of self-awareness of the path from setting the intention to the desired outcome. So if you only focus on that, you can often get caught up within creating resistance of it not being there yet, forgetting about the initial intention. So one of the best things to do is remember the intentions you set and then realize that you have to actually become a vibrational alignment for that experience. So, for example, with my artwork, I initially started dot painting with the intention that I wanted to be a really good dot artist. And it wasn't until I put in the time and effort to pay attention to teaching myself all of the little nuances of how to create dot artwork in the way that I wanted to create it, which then, initially I was focused on just the dots, and then I realized I had to pay more attention to surface preparation because dotting on each surface is so unique that there's so much difference between dotting on, say, stone with just an acrylic base versus a really shiny, smooth surface, depending on what paint I base coat it with, compared to wood or canvas. Like a rough canvas, the dot's going to be really uneven. So the more time I spend on preparing a canvas to get it as smooth as I'm happy with it, and then the base coats that I use, then the dotting is a lot easier for me to achieve the desired outcome of how I want the dots to look. So for me, it wasn't just teaching myself dot work. I also had to teach myself paint consistency, surface preparation. So for me to get from where I was when I first came across dot painting and chose to start pursuing that to then being where I'm at now, I had to go through the process of realizing there was a lot more that I needed to learn than what I actually was focused on initially. So sometimes we have to go through different physical experiences, which, for anyone who listens to Abraham Hicks, they talk about the path of least resistance, which it is because there's so many other nuances. And, I have connected with different forms of other artists and learned things about dot artwork that I've never seen anyone discuss before, that I've learnt from line drawings or, just regular normal brush paintings and paint pouring and stuff like that. I've learnt so many things about dot art from not dot art related stuff, and just random moments where I've learnt how to paint emotions or paint thoughts or create a visual image of a painting in my mind and then translate that into a physical piece of artwork. And then there's also different energetic frequencies that I've learnt how to channel and paint into the painting as well. And then all of the final clear coating I do differently on each surface, depending on what the surface is, will require different surface prep and finish prep, different finishing. So yeah, it's really, for me with the dot art, I've learned how to incorporate so many different skills that I didn't realize I was going to initially, like airbrushing and spray painting and so many other different techniques that I've learnt to incorporate everything into the one thing, which I didn't even realize I was going to end up doing with that initial intention of wanting to get to a certain level of quality with my dot art. So if anyone's experiencing delays in different intentions they've set, it's because that is their path of least resistance. And, especially when there's limited beliefs or lack mindsets or, something I've learned to do myself is to be very careful of the wording that I speak, not saying things like I can't. I learned very quickly that when we say that we can't do something, like if for an example, like if you say to yourself, I can't draw a straight line, you'll struggle to draw a straight line. Whereas if you just go and try and just draw a straight line, it might take a few goes, but you can get a pretty straight line. And just, really experiment with different mindsets. And the more you can remove the resistance within the mind, the more everything just flows effortlessly. And part of that is being as present as possible in the moment, but also when you're present in the moment, you can also see how the past is affecting the present by whatever you're doing. If any different thoughts come up or self-sabotaging behaviors or, just anything like that, the more you're present you are in the moment, the more you can understand why you are in the present moment where you are, and understand the life experience that you're currently experiencing. And it might be more of just contrast of what you don't want, so that you can then focus more on what you do want, because it might just be other pieces of the puzzle. And something that I've really come to realize is there's so many moving parts in the human experience that it's like constant adding more and more pieces of our own puzzle together for us to remember different intentions that we've set and reconnect deeper with our soul. And then you can also start to understand and see different soul contracts at play, and the different dynamics of what people are mirroring between different connections. And the deeper you look at your own human experience, the more you can understand it on many deeper and deeper and deeper levels all the time. And people can only meet you as deeply as you can meet yourself too, because that's all they're going to be able to reflect back to you. So something I've really learnt is the more I can understand myself, the more I can understand where other people have limitations for them connecting on certain levels too. So it's, really just looking at broader and broader and broader perspectives, and taking little pieces of information from everywhere on getting you from where you've been to where you are to where you want to be. And I hope that helps.